This is the term project presentation for Operations Management 6303, Fall 2016. My name is Adam J. Harrison from Team 1. The topic of our presentation is Operations Management at Alphabet Incorporated. On August 10, 2015, Google CEO Larry Page announced the creation of Alphabet Incorporated in a letter posted to the public. Alphabet is the new corporate umbrella for Google and a portfolio of subsidiaries and projects previously associated with Google. The restructuring was complete on the 2nd of October 2015. The new structure separated the highly profitable lines of business, such as internet, video, and mobile, which would remain associated with the Google brand, from the more speculative, loss-leading lines of business targeting future growth opportunities, what Alphabet refers to as moonshots. The restructuring was undertaken to solve two key strategic issues: provide investors with increased transparency into the financial performance of both the core, profitable Google lines of business, as well as the more speculative moonshot and emerging lines of business. Secondly, provide the moonshot lines of business with the structural autonomy required to rapidly capitalize on new markets outside the bureaucracy of the more established Google business. Despite the autonomy of the various Alphabet portfolio companies, they are unified by a single strategy based on, as Larry Page puts it, improving the lives of as many people as we can and capitalizing on opportunities at the intersection of machine learning, big data, algorithms, analytics, and the cloud. The imperative to restructure was driven by two key external factors. First, demands by investors for increased transparency into the financial performance of the various Google lines of business, to include both the core Google lines of business and the more speculative moonshot initiatives. And second, competition from other high-tech giants like Amazon, Facebook, Apple, and even Tesla. The Alphabet response to counter these threats involves a strategy known as semi-organic growth, where Alphabet structures its organization for product innovation through a combination of company acquisition, as was the case with Internet of Things company Nest, and organic product development indicative of the moonshot initiatives in areas like autonomous vehicles, high-speed internet infrastructure, and healthcare. Another important external consideration driving Alphabet's growth strategy is the competition for human capital, which is central to high-tech value creation. Within the human capital context, acquisition as part of semi-organic growth becomes a key element in the development of a competitively differentiated workforce. A key internal factor driving the Alphabet strategy is the need to balance the competing imperatives associated with near-term profitability fueled by the core Google business and long-term growth fueled by the speculative moonshot initiatives. This imperative drove Alphabet to align the profitable legacy businesses under Google and migrate the speculative businesses to independent operating subsidiaries. In addition, to get the most out of the subsidiary portfolio, the Alphabet strategy requires that the different operating entities be aligned around certain strategic objectives and synergies. The integration of acquisitions within the Alphabet structure is another important internal factor, as is the sharing of strategic resources like sales channels and customer bases. By virtue of its size, access to capital, technology, and innovative business practices, Alphabet enjoys many substantial advantages in the marketplace. By the same token, there are a number of potential vulnerabilities that, if ignored, could spell trouble for the conglomerate. Amongst Google's greatest strengths and associated opportunities are its customer base, which represents an upselling opportunity for new products and services. In addition, the diversity in the Alphabet portfolio creates opportunities for cross-selling between subsidiaries without cannibalizing existing customers. Alphabet's access to capital, largely as a result of its core internet services business, is another key strength that gives Alphabet the flexibility to invest in new high-growth ventures. A third strength is the intellectual property that Alphabet owns, to include customer data. Finally, Alphabet's innovative business practices, such as the policy that allows employees to spend 20% of their work time pursuing innovative, self-directed projects, allows the company to recruit the best human capital and leverage that human capital in the creation of a continuous stream of new product ideas. While Alphabet's strengths are formidable, a number of weaknesses drove the corporate restructuring, which led to the creation of Alphabet. In recent years, Google's core business strategy has involved leveraging proceeds from the massively profitable core search engine business to underwrite investments in new businesses and technologies to find the next big growth area. Given the early stage speculative nature of these investments, investors were generally concerned about the lack of visibility into the financial performance of the Google business when commingled with loss-leading moonshot initiatives. Investors were also increasingly squeamish about the lack of transparency associated with internally funded corporate ventures maintained under a single corporate umbrella. While the Alphabet restructuring seemingly resolved the transparency issue, the new entity may still suffer from a fundamental weakness of spreading its focus across too broad a set of opportunities and markets. To the extent that investors demand a high rate of growth, however, Alphabet is obliged to aggressively pursue new opportunities. The two key Alphabet weaknesses, that is, diversity and complexity in its product portfolio and the need for continued high growth, can be resolved given the right strategy. Opportunities for Alphabet include maximizing synergies across its subsidiaries through the efficient allocation of resources and partnering between subsidiaries. Investing in order to both generate a financial return and explore new strategic opportunities for partnering and potential acquisition is another opportunity. Threats to Alphabet come in the form of competition from other high-tech giants like Amazon, which is increasingly encroaching on Google's product search queries, Facebook, which is encroaching on Google's ad revenues, Apple, with its dominant position in the mobile hardware and operating system market, and Tesla, which is developing autonomous vehicles in direct competition with a future growth market for Google.
Hello, my name is Dhruv Amin, and I'm going to cover operation management activities carried out at Alphabet Incorporated. Let's start with design of goods and services. They are defined as the development of Alphabet subsidiaries at the intersection of machine learning, big data, algorithms, analytics, and the cloud services. The core business of Alphabet is the same as Google's, which is search, advertising, Android, and internet services, which is making higher revenues. Alphabet is extending its services via moonshot projects and innovative technologies such as smart home devices, self-driving cars, balloon-based internet provision, delivery via drone, smart contact lens with glucose sensor, and many projects carried out at its subsidiaries. Let's talk about process and capacity design. It's organized to accomplish its strategic goals such as identification, incubation, and scaling of new high-growth businesses that align with the overall mission of the company. The decentralization of the company allows for the deployment of different business strategies to different subsidiaries. Here the main idea is visionaries and risk takers may fit better with the ventures, while disciplined doers might fit better with the mature businesses. This allows businesses to prosper through independence. Let's talk about location strategy. Alphabet maintains locations that provide access to human capital, talent, and associated early stage ventures that drive the Alphabet search for new high growth opportunities. Alphabet subsidiaries tend to be co-located in proximity to its competitors in high-tech clusters around the world. These clusters are anchored by world-class universities which provide a reliable supply of talent. Alphabet maintains major operations around the world in key locations such as Silicon Valley, New York City, and Singapore. Let's talk about human resources and job design. The restructuring of the company has already brought greater clarity and accountability to units whose strategies have long been uncertain and afforded the operating units additional flexibility to recruit talent according to their individual needs. Alphabet seeks 5 traits in the new recruits: general cognitive ability, emergent leadership, ownership, humility, and a hunger for learning. Alphabet is famous for its 20% time program, where employees are granted an opportunity to pursue self-directed projects using 20% of regular work time, and this enables Alphabet to retain high-potential employees who might otherwise pursue a startup opportunity outside of the company.
Problem identification and solution. Long-term competitiveness for Alphabet depends on the design and goods of services, which generates a high rate of return on its investment and should meet quarterly profitability target. The first solution suggests that Eisenman suggested us that the investors Alphabet could finance moonshots by selling a form of equity called tracking stocks targeting high growth and high risk investors. This form of equity would restrict the investors' ownership to just the moonshot businesses and align the risk profile of the investor more closely to the underlying investment. The second solution suggests that a strategy might involve issuing shares to new investors with proportionately fewer votes per share, which is similar to the original Google initial public offering. With increased access to the outside capital, the incubating moonshots would potentially have a better chance to become high growth businesses like YouTube, Google Maps, and Android without alienating traditional investors. The move would also mean that some moonshots could be killed along with the way, as they will no longer have the large umbrella of billions of dollars of profits and will need to be operated like startups. This is a good thing for the ideas that Google is going after. Second, human resources and job design. It should have access to the high quality human capital, and given the diverse array of companies, human capital integration through acquisition can pose a daunting set of challenges. The solution would leverage the existing leadership team from the acquired company to champion the workforce integration process. Gaining the buy in of an acquired company's founding team during the acquisition process could be useful in gaining trust and influencing change in the workforce. Another strategy that has been employed by Alphabet involves investing in the needs of the newly acquired entrepreneurs. Overall, this strategy seems to be working, as this moves also ensures that company's leadership will be strong, and when it needs to replace Sergey or Larry, there will not be a dearth of leaders. Sergey and Larry can continue to focus their energies and thoughts on pushing the limits on their moonshots, which is where they can have the biggest impact on the company, their investors, and the larger world. Also, approximately two-thirds of the startup founders who accepted job at Google between 2006 to 2014 remain with the company. Conclusion. After performing SWOT analysis and identifying the problems and solutions, the analysis concluded that Alphabet should work closely with new acquisitions to ensure acclimatization, but also be careful to provide sufficient room for entrepreneurially minded employees to seek out their own opportunities to create value within the broader Alphabet community. We would also like to thank our professors and teaching assistant for guiding us and responding to our queries. Thank you.